You probably think you know what Cristiano Ronaldo listens to. Maybe something loud, aggressive and full of energy, the kind of music that makes you want to destroy a gym session. After all, this is Cristiano Ronaldo we're talking about. The man who spends hours training, constantly pushes his body to the limit and celebrates goals with the famous SIUUU. So naturally, you might expect his playlist to sound exactly like his personality on the football pitch. But Ronaldo's actual music taste is surprisingly different. In fact, one of his favorite songs is a rock song from the 1990s, and some of the other artists connected to his music taste might completely surprise you. So what kind of music does Cristiano Ronaldo actually listen to? Let's start with probably the biggest surprise, Oasis. Yes, the same Cristiano Ronaldo who has scored hundreds of goals has publicly been associated with the British rock band Oasis. And one song in particular stands out, Champagne Supernova. Ronaldo has spoken about his appreciation for Oasis, and reports about his musical preferences have specifically connected him with this song. What's even more interesting is the claim that he could listen to Champagne Supernova repeatedly without getting tired of it. Think about that for a second. Imagine Ronaldo finishing a training session, getting into his car, putting on his headphones, and instead of some modern motivational track, he has Oasis playing in the background. But there's another detail that makes this even more interesting. Ronaldo has reportedly preferred Oasis to the Beatles. Whether you agree with that choice or not, it tells us something about his personality. Ronaldo doesn't necessarily choose music simply because it's considered legendary or popular. He seems to have his own taste. And Oasis isn't the only classic music connected to Ronaldo. Another name that has been associated with his musical preferences is Phil Collins. Now, if you were asked to guess what Ronaldo listens to, how many people would put Phil Collins on their list? Probably not many. But Ronaldo has talked about enjoying music from artists like Phil Collins, which shows that his taste goes far beyond modern football or gym music. Then there's George Michael. Again, this isn't exactly what most people would expect. George Michael is known for a very different style, and Ronaldo has been associated with his music as well. And when you put Phil Collins and George Michael together, you start seeing a pattern. Ronaldo isn't only interested in music that gives him adrenaline. He also enjoys music that is emotional, melodic and relaxing. And that brings us to another surprising name, Sade. Sade's music has a much calmer and smoother sound than the atmosphere we normally associate with Ronaldo. On the pitch, Ronaldo is intense, competitive and constantly demanding more from himself. But away from football, his musical taste appears to have a much softer side. And that softer side becomes even more obvious when we look at Portuguese music. One of the most interesting examples is E Agora, by Portuguese singer Nininho Vaz Maia. Ronaldo was filmed singing along to the song, and the moment gave fans a rare look at him simply enjoying music. There was no stadium, no opponent, no trophy and no pressure. It was just Ronaldo singing along and enjoying a Portuguese song. That's what makes moments like this so interesting. We spend so much time watching Ronaldo as the footballer that it's easy to forget that there's also a normal person behind the superstar image. And music can reveal a side of someone that football doesn't. But Ronaldo's taste doesn't stop with Portugal. He has also been associated with Latin music, which makes sense considering the amount of time he spent living and playing in Spain. Spanish and Latin culture became a major part of his life, and artists from that world have been connected with his music preferences. One example is Luis Fonsi. Then there's the Gypsy Kings, whose music brings a completely different sound into the picture. Songs such as Bamboleo and Joby Joba are often mentioned in connection with Ronaldo's musical taste. So think about the range we've already covered: Oasis, Phil Collins, George Michael, Sade, Nininho Vaz Maia, Luis Fonsi, the Gypsy Kings. These artists don't even sound remotely similar. And we're still not finished. Ronaldo has also been connected with Brazilian music. And if you've followed his Real Madrid career, you might remember one song in particular, I Sei Eu Te Pego, by Michel Tello. The song became extremely popular among footballers, and Ronaldo and Marcelo famously celebrated goals while performing the song's dance. Those celebrations became iconic. But there's an important difference here. A song becoming associated with Ronaldo doesn't automatically prove that it's one of his personal favorite songs. So it's better to describe I Say Eu Te Pego as a song strongly connected with Ronaldo through his famous celebrations, rather than claiming that Ronaldo personally named it as his favorite. And that's actually important because the internet is full of fake or unverified Ronaldo playlists. You can easily find a playlist online titled Cristiano Ronaldo's favorite songs, but that doesn't mean Ronaldo personally created it or selected every song. So when we're talking about his music taste, we have to separate things that are actually connected to Ronaldo from random songs people have placed on a playlist. And there's another side of Ronaldo's taste that you probably wouldn't expect. Electronic music. Ronaldo has also been associated with electronic and techno music, including DJ Paul van Dyk. So now his musical range goes from British rock, to classic pop, to romantic music, Portuguese sounds, Latin music, Brazilian music and electronic music. That's an incredibly wide range. But here's something even more interesting. Ronaldo reportedly isn't a big fan of classical music. While some people use classical music to relax, Ronaldo has reportedly described it as boring. And honestly, that might be the funniest discovery from his music taste. Because when you look at Ronaldo's personality, you might expect him to have a very specific playlist. Maybe motivational songs, high-energy tracks and music that keeps him focused. Instead, his reported taste is much more relaxed and unpredictable. Sometimes he can listen to rock, sometimes romantic music, sometimes Portuguese music, sometimes Latin music, sometimes Brazilian music, and sometimes electronic music. So what does Ronaldo actually listen to when nobody's watching? The answer is basically a little bit of everything. But if you had to choose the song with one of the strongest connections to Ronaldo's own stated preferences, Champagne Supernova by Oasis would be one of the biggest answers. And honestly, that might be the most unexpected thing about his playlist. Because when you see Cristiano Ronaldo walking into a stadium, you see one of the most intense athletes in the world. You see the goals, the celebrations, the trophies and the unbelievable training sessions. You probably don't imagine him relaxing to a 1990s rock song. But that's exactly what makes this interesting. We know Ronaldo the footballer. We know Ronaldo the record breaker. We know Ronaldo the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. But his music taste shows us a completely different side of him. And maybe that's the biggest lesson from this whole story. Even someone as intense as Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't always need intense music. Sometimes, he just wants to relax and enjoy a good song. So if Ronaldo suddenly handed you his headphones and said, "You have one song. Pick one," what would you choose? Would you go with Oasis and Champagne Supernova? Would you choose Phil Collins, George Michael, Sade, or would you pick E Agra by Niño Vaz Maya? Let me know which one you'd choose. And if you thought Ronaldo's music taste was completely different from what you expected, you definitely aren't the only one.